Morning.
Good morning.
It may just be the two of us.
Oh yeah.
I think so, unless Sean joins.
Okay.
But he said that he was doing something with his tires,
Mm.
and Wayne is doing something with the farrier. So, and Rachel,
What is a farrier?
a farrier is, well, look at that.
Whoa.
He actually is here. A farrier is a person that shoes horses.
Oh, right, right.
But speak of the devil, he is here.
And my wife said she can handle it.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, we were just saying who was going to be here, who wasn't going to be here, and I was actually thinking about debating on making this instead of just a public or a Patreon only call, making this a public like a public Patreon thing, so that people can see. Yeah, I don't know, just make it a free. Uh,
Your face is
uh,
naked.
yes, yes, I'm shaving for the upcoming wedding,
Okay.
so slowly but surely. I still have some. I don't know if that comes through on the audio.
No, not really.
No, it doesn't. I have some scruff, but I'll look at the whole crew's here except Rachel. So, um, yeah, I've been slowly decreasing the length of my beard, or I guess it would be like this, and
Mm.
uh, and I will be clean shaven for the wedding
We
for
must
the
all
first time.
sacrifice something.
Yep, yep, for the first time in a very long time. So, when was the last time you shaved?
2017.
Really? Like
Yeah,
completely?
June, June 2017. Yeah, no, I'll never, I'll cut it down like with a trimmer, but I'm never putting a razor on my face again.
Never.
Never. Nope.
Okay. I can respect that. I
Because
don't know what the future has in store, but I figured for this occasion, I might do it, or I will do it.
for me, is uh, a friend of mine and I would sit around uh, on deployments just talking about what we do when we get out. And it's like, well, we'll never shave again. So his plane went down in Afghanistan, and I decided, well, I might as well never shave again. So I got a little bit of
Uh,
a purpose for it.
so it was that was the cause of the that decision, or what I feel like I.
No, it was just something we would talk about, and then
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then they crashed the plane, and why not?
Yeah. 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 I mean, well, it's easier, that's for sure. And
I've been keeping it. I've been keeping it short though. My daughter says I look like a skunk.
well, that's nice of her.
Yeah,
I wonder what I wonder how I will be greeted or viewed once I grow my beard back. And I wonder what it'll look like, if it'll change after I shave and put a razor to my face and then it grows back. I wonder if it will change in some way or something.
Is that a thing that happens?
I don't know.
Hmm.
We're gonna find out.
Hmm.
Allegedly, it makes it grow back thicker, but I don't believe it.
It's gonna increase my man card. Um, well, I guess I don't know. I guess Sean is hanging out in the background because of his car tire issues, but I don't know. We can get to talking a little bit more. So let's just for the sake of time get the show on the road. This is like a primer call for this other Zoom call that's scheduled tonight, which is why we're doing this now instead of the normal time. And uh all of this is a result of this series of events taking place around the Charlie Kirk shooting, which is kind of hard to believe, but that's the reality of the situation. And um, I I don't know if I don't know how this works. If there's an agenda that can be seen, but I guess it doesn't really matter because I'll share my screen in a second. Um, but I
I can
realized
see
that I
it
can.
off to the side, just for
You
whatever it's
can?
worth.
Okay.
Yeah, it says
I'm
meeting info and then there's the agenda right underneath.
okay. I'm kind of new to using agendas embedded within Zoom. So this is kind of new to me. But so okay, good. So yeah, the time change usually like I mentioned, I might open this up to what's up, Sean? Um, I might open this up and list this as a free post on Patreon so people can see what we do on these calls. And but normally we do these at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we're doing this earlier because of another Zoom call, a public Zoom call that's taking place tonight at 8:30 p.m. to address some just an open door, open Zoom call to address uh a Facebook post and kind of a response to a Facebook post, which in this agenda, it suggested that I read, of course, this is Chat GPT generated agenda, but it suggested that I read the Facebook post and read what I wrote and and then provide the backstory and context. But I think for to make it make a little more sense, I think that it makes more sense with some backstory and context first in that explaining what led to the post in the first place is kind of relevant. So there this is and cripes, I lost the agenda. Um how do I get it back? Um okay, so anyways, you guys can see this Facebook post, and basically this Facebook post here is a response post, if you will, for or two. Actually, let me do this again because I'd like to um keep myself visible. So this Facebook post is in a sense like a response post to the to what initially occurred in the first place, which was an original post here, and I'll show that in a second. And this original post, as I wrote here, generated a bunch of questions, controversy, and I suppose you could call it conversation. That's a polite way of putting it. Because it involved it. No, it did generate conversation. It truly did generate conversation, and it generated a very good conversation, like an actual legitimate conversation between a friend of mine from 25 years. I hesitated because I was thinking about the comments that came from this Facebook post here, which I'll show you in a minute. The comments aren't really something that I would consider conversation, but one of the things that resulted from that post was a phone call, and that was good. A friend of mine from that I've had for probably almost 25 years called me about this post, and it was this basically me sharing some details about this event that was held to like a Charlie Kirk memorial service on Sunday, September 14th, 2025. And Kiriaki and I attended this service, and like the post reads, it's pretty clear what happened. The evening was filled with prayer, worship, heartfelt speeches, and moments of silence. For some, it was their first real encounter with Christianity, and for others, it was a chance for believers from different faith togethers to come together in unity. That's what happened during that evening. And personally, for me, as an Orthodox Christian, I don't think that it's a coincidence that this particular gathering that she and I attended fell on the feast of the elevation of the Holy Cross, which happens to be one of the great feasts in the Orthodox Church. And the reason, like in a nutshell, why it is a great feast is because the cross, which is a symbol of death, because, they hung Christ on it, among other people, to die, has become for us the source of life, victory, and hope through his sacrifice and resurrection. So on that night, the night of this memorial for Charlie Kirk, that spirit was alive. And I wrote, by God's grace, it will continue to live on in all of us who walk this path unashamed of our faith. And then I wrote a simple phrase that we sing during Divine Liturgy and Matins, which is a prayer service before Divine Liturgy on Sundays, or on the Sunday of the Feast of the Holy Cross. O Lord, save thy people and bless thine inheritance. So I'm not going to look at all of the comments now, but apparently people thought that this was very controversial, this particular post. Okay. And my presence there was very controversial. Our presence there was very controversial. the presence from all of these people who were there was very controversial. All of these people who were there gathered together. This is very controversial. I don't, this is not controversial. This is simply an icon of the feast of the elevation of the Holy Cross. However, there's some associations being drawn that I don't fully understand because I don't know much about Charlie Kirk. And this, I guess, is a good segue into the response that I felt like reading here and sharing with people. So I'm just going to jump into it and read it because this is a response to the misunderstanding, a testimony of faith, and a call for honest conversation. And it's titled What I Meant, What I Believe, and Why I Showed Up. Last week, I received a phone call from a longtime friend of mine who I hadn't talked to in a few months, just like we normally do. We talked about a number of things, and it was great to catch up with him. Later in our conversation, we discussed a Facebook post that I had recently made. I've linked to it here for your reference. And it was this Facebook post that I just shared with you guys. And like I said, it appears that several people took issue with that post, including the friend that called me. It turns out that this was part of the reason for his call. We discussed the misunderstanding and had a great conversation. We had a wonderful discussion about the situation in which we currently seem to be in as a country. In light of the misunderstanding and with some encouragement from my friend, I decided to share some additional thoughts after our conversation, which he strongly encouraged me to do. It will be helpful to provide a bit of context for this lengthy post. And that's basically what I just did. I attended this event, talked about it here in this post, and that's what this paragraph is about here. For some people, it appears as though my attendance at this event made me an advocate of hateful ideology. Also, for context, here is a link to that particular event. We'll just take a look at it real quick so that you can see it. It's public, and there was a lot of interest in it. Over 2,000 people responded online to the event. And as far as we can tell, based on response and input from the Medina Police Department, somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 people showed up at the event. But for some people, it appears as though my attendance at this event made me an advocate of hateful ideology. And that is in part why I decided to go to the lengths I did to write a post like this. Writing a longer message gives me an opportunity to communicate what I stand for rather than what I stand in opposition to. Writing a longer message allows me to ensure what I stand for is clear and allows those who are willing to read it understand how I live a life in Christ. Now, in the original post, which was shared here about the event, my intent was to share some facts about the event. For example, the number of people in attendance, what I observed in the correspondence with a great feast in the Orthodox Church on the same day of the event. Lastly, I shared some details about the Feast of the Elevation of the Cross, very brief details, and the hope I have for the future. That was the goal of the Facebook post. Sharing information on social media about an event that took place in my local community. That's it. As far as my thoughts on Charlie Kirk are concerned, let's talk about that. Until his death, and even up till now, the reality is I don't know much about Charlie Kirk and his work. The extent of my knowledge about Charlie Kirk was a handful of YouTube shorts and Facebook reels that I had seen over the past year or so. His content likely had not come up in my feeds that often because politics is not very high on my list of interests. If anything, I would consider myself apolitical. Political content in general does not come up in my feeds that often. And over the past few years, I've taken active steps to consume content of a different nature. And while this has required some time, effort, and energy, it has been worth it. My point is that I don't have much of a knowledge base about Charlie Kirk. And my fiance, Kitty Yaki, who is on this call, who attended the event with me, didn't even know who he was until he was killed on September 10th. So many people have opinions on him about his life and his work, both positive and negative. It has become very clear since September 10th, when he was killed. I don't have much of an opinion on him because I'm largely ignorant about him and the work that he has done. What I have seen is a handful of videos of a young man over the past couple of years speaking on college campuses. It appears as though he would hold a type of tent event encouraging open debate, discussion, and free speech. Beyond that, I don't know much about him. I'm friends with people who have far stronger political interests than I do. And my politically minded friends fall on both sides of the political spectrum. Furthermore, many of them also happen to be Christian. As most of my followers reading this know, I am a Christian. With that said, I have learned that Charlie Kirk was a Christian. It appears as though his assassination has had quite the impact on people. It has affected both Christians and non-Christians alike. It appears as though those who hold strong political opinions are the ones who have been most influenced by his death. In the discussion I had with my friend last week, we discussed how both sides of the political spectrum seem to be celebrating his death in their own unique way. And we agreed that this was very strange and one of the most unique and troubling situations to witness in a long time. The aftermath of his death has become a spectacle that we have never seen in our entire lives, and we both agreed that it is troubling. During the conversation with my friend, he mentioned concern about people associating Christianity with Charlie Kirk. And again, due to my knowledge base of Charlie Kirk, or I lack thereof, is probably a better way to put it, I didn't really know what he was talking about. However, making observations on social media and in the world after our conversation, I better understand his concerns. I have read that Charlie Kirk engages in rage baiting, racist, xenophobic, Islamophobic, and misogynistic commentary. This is from an article online. I've observed many other people also share these same opinions about Charlie Kirk. Some of these people are associating Charlie Kirk with Christianity. The unfortunate reality is that some people associate Christianity with hate. And the unfortunate reality is some people are associating Christianity with rage baiting, racism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, and misogyny, right? So I can speak to this in my own life. I have direct experience with this, and I have, unfortunately, direct experience with people associating me with hate. Hate is awful. However, my own experience with Christ and his church have been the antithesis of hate. I can only describe my experiences with love. At my own home church, many people are from Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, and many other countries. At the same time, converts like myself are welcomed with open arms. Despite our differences, it is our common love for Christ and his church that unites us. As far as I'm concerned, I am their family and they are mine. And we do not promote hateful ideologies. We celebrate our children's birthdays together. We share meals together. We worship together. We live our lives in Christ together. The only hate I experience regarding the church is from people who are outside the church. I read hateful words written by people whose minds seem closed. I read hateful words written by people whose hearts seem hardened. I read hateful words by people who seem to enjoy pointing out the flaws that they see within Christianity. And I read hateful accusations about my character. Luckily, I don't see them too often because I often fail at keeping up with comments on my own Facebook posts. And oftentimes these comments are brought to my attention via conversations with people. I am a proponent of human conversation, just like this. I don't think social media is a very effective way to have productive dialogue with people. Yet I have gratitude for my friend persuading me to respond to the comments from that Facebook post that we originally talked about earlier, which was this one. And while I won't go through those particular comments, if you're interested, you can go back and look at it on your own. The response to the comments from that Facebook post resulted in what you are reading and what I am speaking and reading aloud right now. However, that post that I was encouraged to address involves Christianity, and I made significant changes in my life over the past few years so that I can live a more authentic and Christian life. On account of this, it is with deep gratitude that I wrote these words. I now have an opportunity to respond to the comments from a provocative Facebook post. Moreover, I have an opportunity to provide a testimony publicly about Christianity. And I pray that people read this. I pray that people hear this and listen to it so that they have a better understanding of Christ and his church. Because Christianity is misunderstood. During the conversation with my dear friend, he spoke to me about how Christianity had been corrupted. He seemed a bit taken aback when I immediately agreed with him. Without getting too deep into the weeds, we talked about why this is and what some of the contributing factors were, and it made for an interesting conversation. We also agreed the contributing factors to the corruption of Christianity are something that many people are not aware of. And moreover, I mentioned that I held the opinion that this is something that many people are not willing or wanting to discuss when it does come up. And the reasons behind this require an entirely different conversation. But for the sake of time and the length of this response already, I'll refrain from writing any more right now and speaking about it anymore right now. It's a fascinating history, and it's not what we've been led to believe. However, let's circle back to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Regardless of your opinion of him, one result of his murder is that some people attended a church for the first time in their life on Sunday, September 14th. One of my friends volunteers at his local church. That Sunday, he observed more people than he had seen in a very long time. It was unusual and unexpected, from what I understand. From what I've heard from other people in other churches across the country, the same phenomenon occurred. It wasn't that his death initiated more inquiry into Christ, but his death inspired people to take action on it. My attendance at this event was to stand in solidarity, for lack of a better term, with other Christians. I wanted to observe what was taking place elsewhere in the Christian world. As I wrote in the original Facebook post, the event was a chance for believers from different faith traditions to come together in unity. This is exactly what I wrote in my post, and it's exactly what I meant by writing it. Furthermore, as an Orthodox Christian, when one talks of corruption of Christianity, I agree. I saw this event as a potential opportunity to address the very corruption of Christianity that was brought to my attention. It was suggested to me that I take action and do something about it so that people understand what real Christianity is. So how do we do this if we don't suit up and show up? There are a lot of people out there in the world who are curious about the path that I and many other Orthodox Christians take. There are many people who don't understand what the Orthodox Church is and how it fits into Christianity. So we show up. And when the opportunity presents itself, we explain that the Orthodox Church is evangelical, but not Protestant. It is Orthodox, but not Jewish. It is Catholic, but not Roman. It isn't non-denominational. It is pre-denominational. It has believed, taught, preserved, defended, and died for the faith of the apostles since the day of Pentecost 2,000 years ago. We do not seek to preach or proselytize, but for those who have ears that are willing to hear, let them listen. If this event were to serve as an opportunity for a discussion about Christianity from the perspective that I experience and live it, I would welcome it. It has, and you are reading it, you are hearing it. The intent of that post, again, was to simply share some facts about the event that occurred on Sunday night, Sunday the 14th. Particularly the number of people that showed up for the event, given the size of the city of Medina, what I observed during the event, and what the event coincided with respect to the Orthodox Church, and that is the Feast of the Elevation of the Cross. and me stating my hope for the future based on what I witnessed. The post was intended to focus on faith. It was not intended to be political. And I understand that there are people who disagree with Charlie Kirk and his ideology, and it's acceptable to disagree with each other. I mean, during the course of the conversation with my friend, we disagreed on how to use Facebook. Disagreements are natural. It's important for us to be able to have discussions about our disagreements. And furthermore, something I didn't write here, it's important for us to be able to have discussions, period. And from what I understand, this is what Charlie Kirk promoted. He appeared to be a proponent of open debate, discussion, and free speech on college campuses. Many people think his ideology is flawed. Many people support his ideology. Either way, it's irrelevant because Charlie Kirk was silenced on September 10th of 2025. On September 14th, many people came to church for the first time. This is relevant because that day was the feast of the elevation of the Holy Cross, one of the great feasts in the Orthodox Church. The cross, once a symbol of death, has become for us the source of life, victory, and hope through Christ's sacrifice and resurrection. For those who attended church for the first time on Sunday, September 14th, welcome home. For the rest of us who are Christians, it's time to stand together and support them in their journey of faith. Let us show them the way. There have always been people who claimed to be Christian while holding an undeniably anti-Christian ideology. This has been the case for 2,000 years. There will always be people who continue to claim to be Christian that hold an undeniably anti-Christian ideology. Was Charlie Kirk one of them? I don't know. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that there are people that are suiting up and showing up to church. The fact that people are coming to see is precisely why it is important for those of us who do understand and live an unapologetically Christian life must do so with a faith unashamed. Furthermore, we must discuss flawed Christian ideologies and how they do not align with Christ and his church. For example, if someone equates hateful ideologies with Christianity, we must be quick to correct them. This isn't Christianity. This is sin. St. John Chrysostom writes, for example, the church is a hospital and not a courtroom for souls. She does not condemn on behalf of sins, but grants remission of sins. Nothing is so joyous in life as the thank. In the church, the joyful sustain their joy. In the church, those worried acquire merriment, and those saddened joy. In the church, the troubled find relief, and the heavy laden rest. In Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, Jesus spoke, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He continues by saying, what could be more desirable than to meet this voice? What is sweeter than this invitation? The Lord is calling you to the church for a rich banquet. He transfers you from struggles to rest and from tortures to relief. He relieves you from the burden of your sins. He heals worries with thanksgiving and sadness with joy. No one is truly free or joyful besides he who lives for Christ. Such a person overcomes all evil and does not fear anything. And this quote is one of many why I have such deep love for the church. This is why I am in support of those who have been inspired to attend a church of any kind, anywhere. If I can be present for them physically at an event like the one that took place on September 14th, I will do so. If I can be present for people in conversations like the one my dear friend and I had on the evening of Thursday night, September 18th, I will. If you are out there reading this, or if you are out there listening to this right now or watching this in the future and are in need of someone to discuss your own spiritual journey or struggle with, I am here. Let me know how I can be of service to you. This is what we do as Christians. I am optimistic that this response addresses concerns about my own ideology. I do not support hate or ill will towards fellow human beings in any way, shape, or form. I am a proponent of love and not a proponent of sin. The God that I worship is a God of love. The God that I know is an ocean of love. It knows no bounds. This love has changed me. This love has allowed me to put off the old man and put on the new man. This love has given me hope and love for all mankind, even for those who embrace the thoughts I believe to be awful and terrible. For this is exactly how Christ behaved, the one who was the very proponent of this love and the one who is the head of the church I know. It is unfortunate to witness so much division and strife within our communities. It is a shame to see so much division and strife on social media. However, I also believe that this is how evil works and that this is desirable by those who want evil and discord within our society. If anyone has any questions or comments, I welcome them and encourage the dialogue. And in order to do so in a way that avoids conflict online and yields a positive result, I scheduled a Zoom call next week, which is tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to address any comments personally and publicly. Thank you to my dear friend who persuaded me to respond to the comments in that original post. And thank you for everyone taking the time to read this post. And I hope to see you next week. And I hope to see everybody tonight. So that was the post. That's a little bit of backstory about what led to that monstrosity of a response to a Facebook post. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious about what anyone has to say about any of that.
Do you mean us?
Yeah. How it started, like anything, because yeah, anything.
Rob, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm in the car. Like, I lean on two spare tires. It's a whole thing. Anyway,
Oh boy.
anyway, I'm almost to the shop. Yeah, thanks for sharing all that. My visceral reaction is this. Yes, there's a huge spiritual component to this, but there's also kind of this practical lack of civility. Even if somebody's not a believer, I think things have kind of taken a turn, maybe. And what I mean by this is, I don't know if you guys, pardon this digression, but there's kind of this ethics 101 or psych 101 kind of question that people throw around that, and it's a theoretical thought experiment that if you could go back, 150 years ago and you were Hitler's babysitter, would you strangle him in the crib, right? To prevent everything, knowing what he would do later. And the idea is, and most people would say, well, yes, it would be terrible, but it would be worth it because it would avoid all this other stuff. And this is kind of what broadly accepted from not a Christian point, but just a practical worldly thing, right? And so what I've seen happen is this has been used as kind of a lever for people politically to say, well, if I can call you a label, like a Nazi or hateful, racist, whatever, therefore I'm licensed to do violence against you, right? And I've seen this in so many cases. People I know personally that I knew from high school or whatever, they're saying, well, if he's a racist piece of whatever, then it's okay if somebody killed him or beat him up or etc. And I think I think like your point about the church being a hospital, I think that could, cure this to a point. But this is sort of the situation that I feel that the broader culture finds itself in. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
The only thing I can say is, I mean, yeah, the church is a hospital for those who want to be cured of this sickness that we all have. Because you can't force, and this is in the case of spiritual sickness, which I believe we all have as humans. We can't force someone to take the medicine if they don't want to receive it.
This goes back to that, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear.
Right.
That's what that means.
Right. And that's why, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's there if you want it. Come and see. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's a scary time though too, because people have rationalized, the things that made modern civilization function, in my view, right? Like even if people aren't part of a church or don't identify as being faithful in any way, it's like, well, once you cross into this, boundary of ideology, that gives me the right to discount your worth as a human. Is kind of my concern. And this isn't a couple weirdos. This is a fairly mainstream view, unfortunately. There's a
It
lot of
is, and
people
it's
out there that are, anyway.
no, it is, and it's equally disturbing from both sides of the political spectrum, because this isn't just, us as Christians simply lamenting the death of Charlie Kirk and then allergies. This is, I think, us as Christians lamenting the death of a man, um, period. And what's happening is because the man in this case happened to be Charlie Kirk, the general public, a significant percentage of the general public is celebrating his death and justifying it, saying that it was called for because of his hateful ideology. And then on the other hand, on the opposite side of the spectrum, a significant portion of the population is equally celebrating his death and calling him a martyr, uh, and uh, which is also equally strange, because that's not really what that's not how traditionally we as Christians view martyrs. It indeed, it was sad that that his death was sad. I'm not going to, debate that, but he was not a martyr in the way that we view that we look at martyrdom. And so the way that a lot of people are talking about that is troubling. It's troubling. So, they're elevating him and putting him up on a pedestal in his death on one side, and other people are celebrating it, and it's very strange all around, and it's man, it's just troubling times. I can't make any sense of it at all. The reaction that it's eliciting from people is beyond my comprehension.
Yeah, and I think it's constructive to maybe step back and not focus on the man as much. I'm not trying to diminish anything, but just abstractly, okay, there's this random old guy who's a racist. So do we get to shoot him in the head, on the street corner? And that's okay because if he had kind of a broken mind and his heart was hardened or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's really, in a very practical, worldly sense, that's what's causing me to lose sleep at night as a father and husband and just a person trying to function in the world. Is
Right.
if someone decides that my views make me no longer qualify as a human, then my life is forfeit if someone chooses. And that's a kind of a weird place that it worries me a bit for lots of reasons. Not just that I'm paranoid that someone's going to come up and attack me. It's not literally that kind of thing, but that's becoming socially acceptable.
Right.
You see
Right.
TikToks, right? There's reels about this. I'm sure you've seen lots by now, even if you weren't looking for them.
Yeah, it's becoming socially acceptable and it's really arbitrary.
Yeah, and now that we have kind of this lever or this pathway, and I'm not trying to be dramatic with things, but there's been times in history where these kinds of dehumanization campaigns, if you want to call it that, have happened. And once
Mhm.
we say that our opponents, our enemies, our adversaries, whatever, oh, they're less than human, so therefore it's okay to do whatever to them. Because, like in traditional warfare and stuff, it's like, well, I'm not going to go and kill people who are just trying to live their lives and do their things. No, we have to make them demons first. Because what normal person with a conscience would be okay doing that, right? And it's the oldest trick, and that's what the posturing